I'm Shivani Gupta. I'm obsessed with small to medium businesses growing. As business owners, we take so much risk and we want to make sure it's worth it. I believe one of the best presents you can give yourself as a business owner is to be able to learn how to scale your people, your profit, and your processes. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Grow Your Business podcast. Today is going to be one of very many podcasts coming up in the next few weeks where I'm going to start sharing parts of my upcoming book called Getting Your People to Step Up, 7 Simple Strategies to Attract and Retain Key Talent. I have not written a book for a decade, so I'm super excited and super nervous. And the first chapter that I want to speak to you about is where I'm going to be speaking about vision and the importance of the fact that it is so important that our people have something to believe in. I believe, and I speak about this in a number of my presentations, that people are always looking for something to believe in, which is our vision and the vision of the business leader and owner. Someone to believe in, which is the business leader and owner, and for someone to believe in them, which is really about their self-confidence. And so the first chapter that I want to start really speaking to you about is having that vision and how crucial it is. Now, if you've been in business as a business leader and an entrepreneur and an owner for a long time, then you know the power of the vision. But let me just break you down into, perhaps this is a vision that needs to be revised and you need to go back and look at that. Or you've already had that vision and what you want to do is reinstate it and get more people to be able to really buy into your vision again. Because when people find something to believe in, their output, their productivity, their engagement, their retention, and all those things that we want for our key talent start to fit into place. So let's talk about this notion of direction and focus and why do we actually need that? The reason that people in our businesses are always looking for a clear direction and focus is because it gives them a roadmap. And that roadmap helps people to stay focused on long-term goals. When we're a business leader and owner, it's really easy to be able to look at the long-term vision. And I often relate this to, not that I've climbed Everest, but looking at, when people are looking at climbing that Everest or that big, hairy, audacious goal that you might have. And as a business leader and owner, you might have a 5, 10, 15, and I've also worked with leaders that have had up to a 40-year vision. But often for our people with that vision, one of the things we want to do is help them see that longer term goal in terms of what they are doing. And as business leaders and owners, one of the things that we can do is clearly articulate that vision. We want to make sure that the company's vision is really, really clear. And we want to keep communicating that vision so that people know that that little piece that they're working on relates into that bigger piece that they are actually building. They can see that their job that they do X number of hours a week is related to that vision as a business leader and owner that you might have, that might be again a 5 or 10-year vision. The other thing the reason that we need that vision is that we want to make sure that when we have that shared vision, what it does is in our business is it unites people. It actually gives them a sense of community. And if I can take an example of something, a brand like The Body Shop, which is a global brand, or you look at some of those global brands, people want to come and work there because they know what that business stands for. So we've got that vision defined, it unites our people. And again, whether you've got 5 people in your team or 750 people in your team, it gives them that shared purpose. They know that what they're working for, irrespective of their location, their geographic location, or the different departments that they're working in, it gives them that. And so as business leaders and owners, what are some of the things we can do when we're creating that vision? We want to involve our employees in it. Now, if they're brand new employees, and whether you do this once a year or once every couple of years, or even more frequently than that, we want to have for that unification and for people to believe in that vision. One of the things that we can do is involve our people into the refinement or even the creation of that vision. We want to make sure that there's feedback. And when there's feedback as a business leader and owner, we can take that, particularly ensuring that it's simple enough for people to understand it, simple enough and easy enough for people to see how they fit into that and what their role is in being able to achieve that. The other thing that we want to do when we come up with a strong and really clear vision is we wanted to also help people provide some stability in our business. So when we're going through difficult times, it actually helps people with their resilience and it helps them focus on that bigger picture. Now, we've all gone through the COVID. Some industries have been decimated through COVID. Others have survived and others are now thriving. So whichever one that you fit into as a listener of this particular podcast, one of the things that the reason that we want to have a clear vision is it actually, as a business leader and owner, it actually can help us get through those challenging periods. And one of the things that we want to do is be able to emphasize it, and it helps us resolve problems. An example I wanted to give to you is during COVID, I was running a wellness business. I've now since exited that business. And we talked a lot about wellness, even though our businesses were shut through COVID, about our own well-being and our own resilience. And so we talked about our vision of helping people be able to inspire people to work on their wellness. And we said, okay, even though we're not doing this for our clients, how do we actually apply this for ourselves? And we started sharing stories of little things we were doing, whether it was walks in the garden or hanging out with our children. We started to share those stories with them. And that resilience and having that shared vision really helped us get through the resilience at that time. The other reason as business leaders why we really need a clear vision is because it really helps us work on what our big goal is, but also clunk that down, if I can use that word, or break that down into what I call 90-day goals. So what are the goals that we're doing from a strategic planning perspective every quarter that's going to help us achieve that bigger goal and that longer term objectives? And one of the things that we can do as business leaders and owners is regularly review them and make sure that we're on track. And whether you review that weekly, monthly, I would recommend that at minimum you do that quarterly. But otherwise you might have monthly targets or even weekly targets, depending on the type of business that you have. One key thing of why we want to do and have a clear vision and get some, people to believe in something is because our people that when understand that vision actually perform at higher levels. One of the things we've seen from the research is when everything is really clear, they know that their work is contributing to something meaningful. One of the quotes I love by Brené Brown, the extraordinary TEDx speaker on vulnerability and courage. One of the quotes that I've seen her present is called "Clear is kind and unclear is unkind." So when we as business leaders and owners are clear about our vision, we're actually being kind to our people. And that actually enhances their performance because they can see the performance metrics. They can see how they're aligned to the vision, and people love that feedback, knowing constantly how they can link into that particular feedback as well. And also it flows down and cascades down into creativity. So when we've got that vision and we've got that clarity on that, we also then start to look at what are some of the hurdles that we've got to cross in terms of being able to achieve that vision. So there's lots of problems that we've got to fix, and we need our people to be able to help us fix that. So by having that clear vision and having a culture where people are invited to work on those problems and hurdles that we need to cross in order for us to be able to achieve that vision, what it does, it actually starts to create a culture of innovation, creates a culture of where people start to go, okay, what do I need to do in order to be able to fix that problem that'll get me one step closer to that? Now, obviously, as business leaders and owners, we need to have people that have got some dedicated time, and we might need to look at other resources. But again, having that clear vision allows people to know, if we use that example that early in the podcast that I said of climbing a mountain or climbing Everest, then you know what? We need to go to work out, okay, let's not focus on that big thing, but what's our next big goal that we need to overcome? What's the next big problem that we need to solve? And that gets us 1 or 2 or 10 steps closer to the bigger vision and realizing that. And the key reason I believe that as business leaders and owners, we need to have that very clear vision for our people is one of the things that it does. It helps us attract as well as retain key talent. In our workforce at the moment, this is the first time in history that we have 5 generations working in the workforce at the same time. We've got people that are retired coming back. We've got our veterans, our baby boomers, we've got our Gen X, we've got our Gen Y, and depending on the type of your business, we've got Gen Zs in the workplace. So as business leaders and owners, we need to learn how to communicate with all of these 5 different generations, but also we need to be inspiring enough that resonates with people's values. And when we get clear about who we are and what we stand for in our business, then one of the things that happens is we're able to attract people and retain them, and the right kind of people to come in and actually work with us. And reiterating that vision in interviews, in our ads, even before people have come for interviews, bringing that up in all the different meetings, and always starting your key meetings, whether they're quarterly or every 6 months or yearly, always starting off with our vision. So one of the things that business leaders and owners can do is keep highlighting that through the recruitment process, constantly reiterating it through your onboarding process, and show how they are really aligned and how the behaviours match that. When we have that clear vision, it also not only helps our people internally, but it also helps our customers or clients, depending on what word you want to use. They love the fact that they can trust and remain loyal to a particular area and a particular brand because of the vision and what we stand for. So one of the things that we can do as business leaders and owners is have that vision clearly stated and restated in a lot of our customer interactions, in our marketing, and a lot of other initiatives that we have, from signage to everything else. And the last thing that I really wanted to talk about is that when we are clear on our vision, it helps us have long-term success. It helps us with our sustainable growth. And one of the things that we can do as business leaders and owners is to evaluate that vision, constantly refine it, constantly making sure that it's inspiring for you as well as all of your people. I hope that you got something out of it. I can't wait to share this book with you when it comes out, and would love absolutely any input from you around how you think you use your vision. And if you've got any questions about it, please shout out and ask me. My website is called askshivani.com. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Shivani Gupta, and you've been listening to the Grow Your Business podcast. I hope you got one idea that you can think about or perhaps even implement straight away in your business. Thank you for listening. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn under Ask Shivani. Remember, I call it Ask Shivani, so please send me your questions that I can address in this podcast for you. And I would also so appreciate if you went to the Apple Podcast to rate and review this podcast.